Fantastic rendition. Just fantastic. That was great. Really great. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, what a rainy day. And don't you just love the rain? Now, after a couple weeks, we might go, enough. But boy, we sure relish it today. I wanted to let you know that we received a card from the Police Officers Association in gratitude for all the bears we collected for Blue Santa. And it's back at the board desk. And I was looking at the different pictures there, and I could pick out some of the bears that we had all lined up here. And it said in the inside that they received over 300 bears. 224 of those came from you. Isn't that great? That's so cute. And to see a police officer in a blue uniform with a white beard, I mean, just adorable. Oh, okay. Releasing Old Beliefs, that's the title of this talk today. And 2 weeks ago, Reverend Sue presented the beginning of a 4-month focus on Wayne Dyer's book, Your Sacred Self, Making the Decision to Be Free. We're going to be talking about this for 4 months. And in some ways, freedom to me is as easy as Janet Joplin's song, "Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose," if you remember that song. It's like living in a higher spiritual dimension where we're not concerned about our own self-importance or depending on things to make us happy. We just feel free. It's a really great feeling. For me, in my life today, freedom is living on purpose. I worked in the corporate world for so many years, and now I get to do what I absolutely love, which is studying metaphysics, teaching the science of mind, and that's my bliss. That's definitely my bliss, because I know I co-create my world with what's going on in my mind. So when I fill it with these teachings, with the principles, and do the practices, I'm in charge of my life. And I like it that way. I'm sure you do too. You know, science has proven that where our energy, the mind of our energy, where our mind goes, energy flows. And that energy is creative. It's called the creative process. And it works in us, and our thoughts and beliefs draw like energy to us. And Dr. Joe has explained it scientifically in his books, and other people have too. And when we really contemplate that, we know we are in the driver's seat of our life, and no one else. But he also, Wayne Dyer also says, you know, it's time to think about this, because no matter how old you are, you've been pumping beliefs and attitudes into your subconscious mind for quite a while. And you may have some in there that might be negative. Because sometimes we go, where did this experience come from? And when you look back, oh, I guess I've been believing that. So we've piled these up over the years, and sometimes it creates anxiety, fear. We may have experiences that we're just questioning, where did that come from? That's where practitioners come in and ministers come in. Dwyer feels that we really want to be free from erroneous beliefs that we've accepted, and it's okay to release those. The ones that don't fit for us, like you and I, who are on this sacred journey of life. We can be free of those. And releasing them is important because they shape our reality, like the reading Damien did from Ramana Maharshi. He said, this is life, but now what's to be done? What is ours to do? So in your program is this wonderful sheet of paper. And it's Wayne Dyer's look at beliefs and opinions that do not fit into this new agreement about our sacred reality. So we're going to look at these 10 common beliefs, and then he has some suggestions for us if we want to rewrite those beliefs, like rewiring our mind. And the first one is, as you see, more is better. No matter what we have, that next car looks so good. I always get worried when Paul goes to get an oil change, because many times he'll come back with a new car. One time it was a gold painted car, and I went, wow, that's a darn good looking car, and he was driving it. I was like, oh my God, he did it again. But sometimes it's just nicer clothes or a bigger house or an expensive trip or something, that more is always better. But if we're confined to striving for more, what have we really done? The striving never ends. It never ends. There's no peace in an endless pursuit of more. I went into the dentist office recently, and the magazines on the wall were People Magazine, Vanity Fair, Glamour, all these wonderful magazines on how inadequately we dress. And I was flipping through them because famous people often wear strange clothes. Tell me that dress really did cost $3,600? I mean, really. And so I find it interesting in the field of fashion where people just want to say, look at me, look at me. It's an interesting thing because many want to stand out, to look different, to just be different, so look at me. But sometimes that energy sidetracks us from our spiritual growth. We relegate our spiritual self to the corner of our mind because we want that something more, better, different. Now, it's possible to abandon this allure to being dressed popularly or driving the nicest car. And Dyer suggests that we look at how much energy we're using in pursuing things we don't need. I have a few things I don't need. I have a few books I don't need, and I forgot to bring them in. I'm going to do that, though. But it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no, especially if someone else thinks we need to have things like them. The second most popular belief is something or someone's to blame for my life. Somebody knows that one? Or knows someone who knows that? It's poor childhood, our parents, our teachers, politicians. It could be our heredity. It could just be plain darn bad luck. The list can be endless. But when we blame someone outside of ourselves, we are giving them control over our life. We don't really want to do that because we abandon the sacred person, the sacred self of who we are. The opposite of blaming other people is self-responsibility, becoming an inner-directed person. We choose to know we are the creator of our life, and there is an inner presence that is sacred. So we can let go of the blame game. And for those who anger us, we should be grateful, because they provoked anger in us that we may not have known was there. That's a cleansing thing, actually. Poke me and I get angry. Ooh, it was in me all the time. How can I return to centeredness? How can I return to love? The third most popular belief is idealism can't coexist with realism. Has anyone ever told you to stop dreaming, to just be realistic? Because I know several people who loved drawing as a child, and a teacher told them, oh, you're not good at this, and they stopped. They just stopped for the rest of their life. So whether you wanted to be a singer or a dancer like me, a teacher, a scientist, then someone said, get real. It's all perception. It was just their perception. Dyer suggests that we make a list of those things that we'd still like to do, that we still feel are important. Write about them, draw pictures of them, think about them, and watch coincidences appear. Experiment and keep the vision of what you really would like to do. Keep it. But then start paying attention. One of his examples in the book I thought was really cute. He went to Florida to a hotel for a few days because he wanted to focus on writing a new book. And when he got there, he unpacked his suitcase and realized he'd left his tape player at home. That tape player had all his initial notes to himself on what this book was going to be about. So he called his wife. Yeah, it was still there on his desk. And so he went to sleep feeling really bad about that. In the morning, he said, okay, we're going to start over. And he turned on the lamp on the desk in his room, and the bulb blew out. And so he went, well, I'm writing about divine designs in our life, and I guess I better call for a new bulb. So he called housekeeping, And the next thing he knew, there was a knock on the door, and a man named Cliff from housekeeping had a new bulb. So Cliff noticed all the papers on the desk and the books, and he said, I've wanted to read your book, Real Magic, for a long time, but I never got around to it. Now look, I'm bringing you this light bulb. Isn't this a coincidence? And Dyer said, the evidence that he brought this light bulb was the power in Cliff's thoughts, that he would be the one to bring the light bulb. But Dwyer then said to Cliff, do you know where I can get a tape player just for a day? Do you have any idea where I can get one? And Cliff said, oh, right in my car. He said, I've been carrying that tape player around with me. In fact, this morning I looked at it and I don't even use that thing. Why is it still in my car? So he gave it to William Dwyer to use for the day. So that's a wonderful coincidence. Not just Cliff meeting Dwyer, but the tape player. I just love that. It's a great coincidence. Belief number 4, there's only one existence and it is physical. Now we know that's not true, but I like the way he explained it. Before the invention of the microscope, we had no idea that there were zillions of little microscopic things on our skin and in our hair and in our body, and we had no idea about this till people discovered it through the microscope. We are just alive with activity, alive with energy, and it's been proven, thanks to many scientists, that every cell in our body communicates with every other cell. There's a lot going on we totally aren't aware of. So we are an energy body in a physical body. So he says to recognize this, pay attention to those rushes of energy we get at certain things. Sometimes it's meeting an old friend and we get a rush of positive energy. Sometimes it's a phone call from someone we want to talk to and we get a rush. I love to do love my body meditation, where I just love my kidneys and love my liver and love my heart and love my stomach and love it all. And these inner waves just start moving. It's a wonderful thing to do. So we are not just physical. Number 5, we're separate and distinct from everyone else. Now, teachers have often told us, dear, you're unique. You're separate, you're special. You don't have to be like anybody else because you're disconnected. There's no connection. But the truth is we exist in a universe of oneness. In our spiritual mind treatment, what is the first step of our prayer? Oneness. We are all one. And so I'd like to read this. It's from a Hindu sculpture called the Rig Veda. Truth is one. Sages call it by various names. It is one sun which reflects on all ponds. It is one water which slacks the thirst in all. It is the one air which sustains all life. It is the one fire which shines in all houses. Colors of the cows may be different, but their milk is white. Flowers and bees may be different, but the honey is the same. Systems of faith may be different, but God is one. As the rain dropping from the sky finds its way towards the ocean, so the prayers offered in all faiths reach the one God who is supreme. Written thousands of years ago. So it's time to put oneness into action, and might I suggest it's number 1, loving your neighbor as yourself. That's pure oneness. Belief number 6, it's us versus them. Shows up almost everywhere, doesn't it? It could be even within our own family. These in-laws are fine, but those cousins are not, us and them. It could be in our community. It could be in our county, in everywhere we look, us and them. Sometimes it's our spouse. But them could be our neighbors, our coworkers, politicians, or another country, us and them, so divisive. I remember those grueling days in the early 1980s when the spotted owl controversy was going on, a very heated time. And at one point, a group of environmentalists from the Applegate Watershed Group in Oregon came to Redding to meet with timber industry representatives, of which I was one. One of their leaders, bless his heart, walks in this room full of tension, with all doors and avenues open for escape. I remember that. And he comes in wearing this big badge and has the word "they" on it, with a big red circle and a slash. Everybody who saw that let their anger go. It was so palpable. That simple button took the heat out of the room. And I remember it so clearly, and it felt very magical. Gosh, it was spiritual. It was one of those wonderful moments. So if we seek seeing the divinity in other people and see how we're all connected, then we can spend time at the end of each day thinking, how many times today did I say the word "I did this" and "I did that," or "they did this" and "they did that," instead of it all being us in community and us in the universe. Belief number 7, petty tyrants should be ignored. Sometimes this feels like it should be true. But everyone we judge as evil can teach us our greatest lessons. Everyone that comes into our life in any capacity is valuable to the soul that is yearning to continue to grow into infinity. Everyone has a lesson, everyone. And those people that are seen as tyrants are just as divine as our next door neighbors or us or the person sitting next to you. Emerson said it this way: the whole course of things goes to teach us faith. The whole course of things is every minute in our life comes to teach us faith. Belief number 8, goals are essential for success. I read that and I said, wait a minute. I always have goals. I often hear myself saying, if I don't have a goal, I don't know where I'm going, so I don't know how I'm going to get there. That's the person that distrusts spirit. And sometimes my corporate mind just goes there. We got to know where we're going. But living a spiritual life doesn't mean setting goals and being strict on following them, because we're always in the presence of a loving presence of God. This path is not linear. The sacred path is not linear. It's important to occasionally be quiet and listen. I think I want to go left, and something says go right. I think I want to go here. Something says go there. You know, as the sign on the wall says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, if we have a goal, there's not going to be a teacher to come in and say you're doing it wrong. It's the teacher that opens the mind to more than one path. So we have to have a willingness to allow things to happen, allow things to be signs for us. We can relax and let us be propelled into the future, a future that Spirit is there to help us with. Paul was saying this morning, well, it's kind of like a person that loves to play golf and they have a handicap of 86 and they want it to be better, so they have a goal of another number that they want their handicap to be, but they forget to look at ways to improve themselves. They're just striving for a number. And I remember when I graduated from Ohio State, Buckeyes, they were awesome this year. I even emailed David about it. He said, I know. But when I went to college, I went 3 years straight. I wanted to get it over with, and I wanted a 3.0, and I ended up with a 3.1. And I look back on that, and what if I wanted a 3.5? Would it have been that much harder? I'll never know, but I know now that I had the potential to do it, when at that time I didn't really think I did. Interesting. Here's another one that my ego mind started to argue with, belief number 9. You must always do your best. But the fact is, you can't measure your best. Something can always be better. So where does it end? Where does this best end? If we think we have to do our best, it's our ego that's driving the car. Our ego that's looking, who's going to judge us for not doing what they think is our best? Oh boy, it gets complicated. And so being that stressful, am I doing my best? Am I doing more than my best? Is somebody going to say I'm not doing blah, blah, blah? Oh man, we are not a peaceful being. There's no way you're going to find peace in that. It lets our ego take over our life. Hopefully I've learned a lot about that. More to learn always. Instead, Dyer says, be in the present moment. There's no need to measure ourselves to some unmeasurable goal. If we're just allowed to feel peaceful in what we're doing, our performance will improve and we will feel more energized to do better. Belief number 10, dreams are not reality. I had to read this one twice because I dream a lot. Most of us have been taught we have a waking personality, a waking time, and a dream time. But Dyer feels that dreams are simply different aspects of our waking reality and that they contain teachings for us on the spiritual path. Well, at the 9 o'clock, I said a lot of what my dreams are is I'm in a hotel or I'm in a shopping mall or I'm somewhere and I'm trying to find the bathroom. And you know how hard that can be sometimes. And so there's teachings there on the sacred path. So what I'm going to do, I told Paul, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to try and remember the aspects of that dream to look for the sacred teachings and see what I come up with. I don't know. But it's really a world of energy, shifting our mind from the concreteness of our day to the energy flowing in our body. So it's an interesting thing to think about. So if any of these 10 beliefs might be hanging around in your subconscious mind, please come and see a practitioner or a minister, because that's what spiritual mind treatment is all about. Carving a new road in our consciousness, letting the best of us come through. We can transcend those negative beliefs. They don't have to remain. In many of our classes, that is exactly what we're helping you do, is to even identify them, that they're still there and they're still alive and they're not working for your greater good. So next Sunday we have Greg Lavoie coming, great national author, very famous person. And then the following week we'll continue with Wayne Dyer's book, and it will be the 4 Keys to Higher Awareness. So if you like Janis Joplin, please remember her words this week. Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. It's living in a higher spiritual dimension where we're not concerned about self-importance, we're not depending on old beliefs to make us happy. It's here in the conscious awareness of the present moment where we truly find inner peace. Amen. Oh, thank you. So let's pray on that. This is so refreshing for me to work on this talk. It was just totally refreshing because we know the truth, we're all one. That's what we know, and science has shown that everything in the universe is made up of the same elements. We're all one, and yet on the outside we are so different and unique as individual souls on this spiritual path. But at the heart, where we connect with God, with infinite intelligence, Big Daddy, we're all connected. And so I know for myself and everyone here this morning that we take a good look this week. What really does come up? Is it us and them? Is it me and you? Is there any separateness here? I know working with the homeless this week, we'll probably see some of that, us and them. So it's a good time to give the gift of shoes for people who walk so far every day. Give them love. Treat them as individuals, as the divine in our presence. It's the greatest gift we can give everyone. So today I embody that and I invite you to also. And just see the waves of energy that come through our own system of energy. Make us smile. Make us feel good about being on this spiritual path and loving life in all parts of it. Thank you, God. I release and let go, and so it is. Thank you.